Yes, welcome all subscribers and viewers around the globe to Life Made Up of Questions for this interactive session with an eminent person from academia, Professor Dr. Padmanabhan Krishnan, Professor Higher Grade School of Mechanical Engineering, VIT-University. So, from the background of physics, BSc, then MSc Physics, then he has joined MSc Engineering, leading to PhD in Engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So, welcome you, sir, for this interactive session.
Thank you and welcome. And I thank you for having invited me to this interactive session.
Yes, sir. So it's a platform actually to share the experience, your vision, your ideas, and the experience. Actually, mainly the experience to the students and the faculty and other audience around the globe. So first of all, starting from your career, what fascinated you towards mechanical engineering as well as material science from the BSc Physics?
Well, first of all, my sincere thanks and then greetings to all the viewers. And what exactly fascinated me towards mechanical engineering? The answer is not fully correct. Like I did my right from childhood, I was good in physics. And after BSc Physics, I did my MSc Physics with material science and solid state physics in it. I was good in solid state physics and material science. And having a strong background in mechanics, statics, hydrodynamics, dynamics, and statics, hydrostatics, properties of matter, and other aspects of mechanical engineering and optics and thermal and other aspects of manufacturing and manufacturing in general, I thought it was better to continue with materials engineering and composite materials and mechanical engineering. So composite materials are used a lot by mechanical engineers, aerospace and automobile and marine engineers. So that brought me into the domain of mechanical engineering, though I am by degree an MSc engineering in materials engineering, composites, and PhD engineering in composite materials again from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. I did my master's there in 1988 and PhD in 1995. And there, if you are a composite engineer, where you look at material combinations and then all sort of fibers and reinforcement in the matrix and the metal organic frameworks or ceramic metal composites or polymer ceramic composites sort of materials, you need to not only know the physics part of it, but also a bit of chemistry and design aspects. So as a materials engineer, I am able to fit into any mechanical engineering department. And I consider myself first as a materials engineer or a composite engineer who fits better into the mechanical engineering domain than anything else. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, coming to the materials engineering, as you have mentioned, chemistry is also coming into picture. The polymer engineering, the textile, and the other parts. Like we can see nowadays, the materials, the mixing of materials, leading to an innovative way of recycling the products. All these are coming in material science, right?
Yes, they are all coming into materials engineering, and the polymers are now coming up in a big way. As you say, you're right, and then polymers are coming up in a big way. And the most important aspect of materials engineering is that you can work in metals or hybrids or ceramics or their hybrids or polymers or their hybrids. As they say, a polymer can be a peptide, a protein, or a finished plastic, but a plastic essentially is a solid polymer in the finished form. So generally we say polymer engineering. That means either liquid or a solid or a peptide or a protein or any even biochemical polymer that you might have as an organic polymer or an organic food item. Even that passes off as a polymer. So it's a very vast subject, and thankfully, yes, thanks a lot for bringing in the aspect of recycling. I think you're a true Keralite because Keralites worry a lot about green environment and
Yes.
recycling wood and all sorts of sustainability. So Kerala is inbuilt with sustainability. So I have worked on waste plastics and conversion of waste plastics into petrol, kerosene, and diesel. And I've also worked on recycling of polymeric materials. So that's a very important thing. Yes.
So when you are mentioning about Kerala, I remember that you are also from Kerala. That's one of the connecting thing. Okay, then like when we are considering the material, the strength of material, the adhesion, the compression, all these characteristics are coming. And we are having different state also, gaseous, liquid, and solid. But some combinations are also happening of all these materials too. And can you bring a comparison between the syllabus of those times with the new mechanical engineering? Is there any vast difference nowadays, or the like on the basic subjects?
Yes. First, answering your first part of the question, I was born, brought up in Trivandrum and Kollam. Though, strictly speaking, I belong to a Tamil Brahmin family. Like, my father was born in Krishnapuram, and he just passed away recently at the ripe age of 99. He served in food corporation. And my mother is from the other side of the hills, Tenkashi. And we have relatives on either side. So we are mostly at home, we are bilingual. And quite a few of us are Malayalam educated. So that answers the first part of your question. Coming to the second part of your question, where you wanted to know what exactly is happening to mechanical engineering, whether there is any transformation going on from the older syllabus to the newer syllabus. Definitely yes. My answer is a firm yes. Those days, about 20, 25 years back, if you do not study thermodynamics, heat and mass transfer, design of machine elements, kinematics of machinery, then machine drawing, and materials engineering, and a few other subjects like power plant engineering and process engineering. You're not a mechanical engineer. These days, these courses have been kind of compressed, and then we are now passing on to an era where from IC engines we are making a transformation to battery operated electrical vehicles, number one. So the knowledge that you require in engineering thermodynamics, heat and mass transfer is not too demanding. You have to know more about lithium ion sulfate, lithium sulfate, and then electric mobility, powertrains, and then drives, motors, and then other things. You are stepping into the domain of electrical engineering, number one. And as far as the mechanical materials evolution is concerned, my answer is that those days we had only ferrous and non-ferrous alloys. But these days they are using carbon fibers, Kevlar fibers, and then few other fiber reinforced composites, smart materials, materials that respond according to what input or stimuli you give them. What stimuli you give them, smart materials, and then robotic materials, mechatronics, and artificial intelligence related aspects of manufacturing, automated manufacturing, and so on. So, mechanical engineering now has evolved from a core subject to a subject that heavily depends on artificial engineering, artificial intelligence, especially IoT, machine learning, data analytics, and mechatronics, and a few other smart devices and smart systems and subsystems and intelligent systems. So this is the transformation that it is going through.
Exactly. So coming into the materials back, nowadays we can see there's a huge demand for semiconductor devices. So there also material is coming. So actually, when semiconductor is coming, all will be thinking about the electronics part. And but there is a material too, that conductivity and the characteristics. So actually now sir has already mentioned regarding the lithium ion and the electric side also. Now huge demand for electric vehicles are also coming. So what will be the interrelated aspects of all these engineering clubbing together, like a molding of mechanical engineering when linked with this kind of technologies?
Yes, many standalone disciplines or individual disciplines like material engineering, mechanical engineering, automobile engineering, or marine engineering, or even electrical engineering, they have begun to realize that right at the undergraduate level, you need to provide for interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary education. Because, like those days, you cannot be a strict civil engineer anymore. A civil engineer must start using smart materials. He must learn more of infrastructural development, urban metro rail, and then other kinds of mass rapid transport systems. And you should know a bit of electrical engineering that goes along with civil constructions. And he must also know a lot about infrastructure. So that has become the role of a civil engineer. Similarly, just now I highlighted about the demands on mechanical engineers. Similarly, if you look at biology side, we have biomedical devices, medical engineering, and so on. So I would say that the uh, trust now is on multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary developments. Interdisciplinary relates to the connection between automobile, materials engineering, marine engineering, mechanical engineering, and civil engineering. Multidisciplinary relates to doing a civil engineering and at the same time doing a minor or an honors degree in some part of electrical engineering that is required. Or if you are looking at marine constructions, then a civil engineer must know a bit of marine engineering. So that becomes, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. And transdisciplinary engineering is very, very important these days, because what they do is, let's say you're looking at semiconductor manufacturing. In semiconductor manufacturing, they even involve customers. For example, even a kitchen today is full of semiconductors, microwaves, mixies, then induction stoves, then other kinds of, solar chimneys, and then smart chimneys, and other kinds of aspects. So what happens is, even a house if must be really educated in some part of semiconductors, for example. So, in product development exercises, as a transdisciplinary concurrent philosophy, what they do is they involve customers when they want to design a new product to find out through market survey whether they really need them. So, you should not be just an engineer, as they say. It's not enough if you are just an engineer. For example, when you do electronics or materials engineering or mechanical engineering, you might as well do them with operations research, market economics, management, and market survey, product liability, then product reliability. In semiconductors, wherever you go, the reliability engineer invariably will be a materials or a mechanical engineer. Electrical engineers and electronic engineers are not favored, because reliability of whatever switch you make or whatever chip you make ultimately depends on its mechanical ruggedness to switching on, switching off, thermal fatigue cycling, and so on. So this, I think, is a very important aspect. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, exactly. Then coming to the teaching experience, you are having vast experience in India and abroad as a research fellow, as well as a guest faculty, a faculty in other countries too. So, what difference you can feel from Indian education to Western education and other part of the country? What is there any gap, as all are mentioning? Like when coming to the employability, our syllabus is standing a quite lag is there. Many people are mentioning like that. Is it so actually?
See, I this is a very important question, but not an easy question to answer.
Yes, exactly.
As I see it from my standpoint, after my PhD, I had 5 years of postdoctoral experience abroad in Singapore and the United States. And after a gap, I even went to the University of Cambridge for a leadership training program. Obviously, if you want to address it as a gap, saying that we are still developing, only now we have become the fifth largest economy, and there are others who are ahead of us, who are proven, who have something to tell us, the answer is yes. But at the same time, as we are developing, I do not want India to end up as another China, another Britain, or another US. We have our own vast knowledge system. We have our own vast knowledge system, and then instead of copying or aping the West, we can take tips from them in management, we can take tips from them in international trade, we can take tips from them. Why our own Indians are making excellent chips there in Intel. When the British Prime Minister is now Indian origin. And there are so many things to be proud about. But what we have to be very watchful is that we should never have the core loss as an Indian. We should never have core loss as an Indian. So we must thrive on our national priority, our knowledge system, and develop what is good for us or what is going to be good for us technologically, economically, and at the same time, Indians also have their weakness. The population is too much, and then our own follow back, follow through, or say follow or say following back things is a bit weak, I would say. We are good in research, but we are not good in converting research into production and then following production for proper maintenance and failure proof designs and then all that. That is what they say. That kind of a follow up is to be encouraged internally more and more, like in foreign countries. So this is the advantage and the disadvantage. Our knowledge system is very vast, and then if you are able to realize that, visualize that, and then at the same time convert that into feasible options, that is a very good idea, I think. So coming to the answer, yes, there is a lacuna here and there, but in certain sectors we have a severe opportunity to be way ahead if we continue like this. And we need a stable outlook. We need a stable outlook through ethos, through national priority, and then a clear idea of what we want as a nation and as regions, various regions. So this is my answer.
Exactly. So I think the new education policy coming to picture will be having more flexibility over the education. And as sir has mentioned, it will be leading to different dimensions also. Not like finally we are good in several things, but end of the day, converting it into a productive manner or making into the real like application wise. I think the new education policy will be playing a vital role.
Yes, the new education policy will be playing a vital role, and then I'm happy that the thrust is not just on an institutional model or academic model. From an institution model or academic model, we are now slowly moving to corporate and enterprise models. When I went to Cambridge, they told us that they don't simply follow an institutional or say hierarchical or academic model. Cambridge University, through startups, ventures, venture capitalism, IP, and then product realization, makes more than £1 billion every year. That is their output. So, like, I'm glad that IIT Madras, IAC, few forefront institutions, VIT, SRM, Manipal, Shastra, and Amrita, and many other universities have already started startups, and the government of India has, in a big way, gone ahead with startup initiatives, converting the academic ideas and then what knowledge system we have gained into reality. So the idea lies in two things. Sometimes you cannot go on a fast track because certain research aspects like cancer biology or say finding out newer materials to reach further and making spaceships that can travel across the solar system. So these things are slow research. They're slow track research. But not all research is slow track. If you're working with a smart industry and then if you are a smart institution, the philosophy that I would suggest is a countercurrent philosophy. Okay, you know something, I know something, let us talk it out, let us match it out. And then once we do a mapping, like how you ask the high school students to map from A to B. In column A, you give 5 items. In column B, deliberately, you give 6 or 7 items. 1 or 2 of them don't fit in. So they say A to C, then B to D, and so on, and they match it for you. So if you follow such a style of a counter-current style, where smart industries and smart institutions can get down and then improve something downstream, that's of a lot of value and immediate downtime application. Then, like, if you follow the slow track as well as the fast track type of approach, that would be of a lot of help. So realization from education becomes a very fast thing. Whatever you study, you just kind of end up realizing them in 3 to 5 years downtime. That is very important. But I'm also afraid that certain things can't be that fast, like new discoveries or say aiming for the Nobel Prize, or say finding out that we are not alone and then we are trying to find another civilization across and so on.
Exactly. When education is coming, both teaching as well as learning has to happen. So when there is a platform in the campus itself where the students are getting an opportunity to uh, do what they learn, actually to get a hands-on, it will be beneficial in long term. Because when we are coming to the other category like self-financing colleges and the comparing the premier institute, their more focus is given to the teaching. The learning is coming little bit later. So if they're getting a platform like an incubation center, like an industrial tie-up within the campus, it will be giving an exposure to them while studying their graduation itself, and they can get an idea that whether they have to go for higher studies or their area of interest. They will be able to identify the area of interest.
That's correct. I mean, what you say is correct. And then placement activities and then career options and trying to help a student discover himself. Like how many learned people say, like, if you know others, you are learned. If you know yourself, you are wise. And there's the other side also. Some people think that knowing others is wisdom, and then whatever you study is learning, right? So I am of the side that whatever you learn leads to your own knowledge, but knowing others and then having ways to achieve your ends at the same time for societal benefit is wisdom.
Exactly.
So yes, so career development is another option, like where the students must be given a free hand to choose what they want to do, when they want to go for higher study, whether they want to do higher studies, or whether they want to go for a job immediately and then come back into management and then few other upskilling and become very good entrepreneurs.
So nowadays we can see the trend that many students are migrating from India, like they're going from India for higher studies, and they are planning to settle there. Now they are not willing to come back to India. So what will be the trend in future? But I think India is a country of a vast opportunity in near future. So we are undergoing a transformation in education, in technology, in medical science, everything we are undergoing a transformation. So as an academician with your experience, the forecasted vision, how you would think that what will be the future education scope of India?
This is a very interesting question, and then I'm afraid that I don't have a complete answer, but I can give you enough examples to make you feel how important it is and then what needs to be done. That I can do. See, let us take US for example. You know that Indian community is perhaps one of the best communities as far as productivity and contribution to the US economy is concerned. Now, when an Indian goes from here to US, he adjusts, he does a lot of good things, and then he earns a lot. He looks after his family, he contributes to the society, economy, and all that. He even integrates with the culture there. But think of America here. Enron was a failure. Union Carbide was a failure. Then Harley Davidson was a failure. Jeep is struggling. Boeing has set up office, but nothing much has come out of it. And Ford, as they have handed over things. GM was a failure. They have gone back. See, what ultimately matters is that an Indian's ability to acclimatize, an Indian's ability to adapt, an Indian's vast universal approach to anything that he does. That is very important. Now, as the current government and then other governments are taking a lot of initiatives to stop brain drain and provide enough avenues for startups or venture capitalism or IP and then other industries and then paying high salaries and improving salaries and living conditions and so on. I think the situation is now improving for India. So in future, I don't think this problem will be severely felt as we will have enough talent to retain, train, and manage to retain in the due course of time. But like what really makes an Indian go out is not that he doesn't want to stay in India. It is because he has a better opportunity elsewhere. So if that is slowly changed, and then like you make an Indian earn 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs per annum here, and drive around in the same type of cars, and then have good houses and then good lifestyle, and at the same time contribute a lot to the society and well-being, I think things can change. And we already on the right path, according to me. But what looking at the other side of it, the reverse side of it, like why Indians refuse to come back to India and settle down? Because once they go there, and then after 2 or 3 or 5 years, and they're able to integrate and then prove themselves, they don't have enough. What do you say? They don't have enough reason to come back to India. So, like I think that would not be a good idea also to try and get back what you sent. I mean, you must not either send it and then you must retain it, giving it better options. Or if it still wants to go, let it go. Because I think if China is producing 10 children a minute, India is now producing 30 children a minute. And India can afford to educate and send some people abroad. That is also of a good pride to us, because there are a lot of Indians abroad who are doing really well. I mean, our human resource and the knowledge systems are so good.
Exactly, like Western philosophy, the Indian philosophy is also prominent, and we are having the cultural values too. And it is attracting a lot of foreigners towards India also to do the research or understanding of Indian culture and its importance. So, in future, I think this existence of Indian education, along with this value-based education, will be making it standing on a like unique pattern in the world education.
Yes. So your question to me on this, I mean,
Yes,
any
actually,
question to me on
yeah,
this?
because now we can see like in Kerala we are having a campaign against drug, and totally now the emotional like balance of the students are varying because all our the patient's level is getting reduced now. Every a person is quite busy with their smartphone, their smart devices, and they don't need to have a lag in the. So finally, in some way or the other, the mental health is quite distracted. So I mean, I think this will be the last question towards you. With your experience, what do you think? What will be the emotional balance?
Okay. Thanks a lot for putting this question to me. Thanks a lot for putting this question to me. And my answer is going to be a bit lengthy, or lengthier rather. Um, I do agree with you that after the two wars, world wars, the baby boomers and the baby boomer generation that produced me is much stronger mentally than the other generations that came later, like Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Gen X and Gen Y are also reasonably strong mentally, but the post liberalization generation, that is, people who were born after 1990 or 95, like they were born with a silver spoon and they did not go through the grind like us. They did not go through the grind like us. Like when I was born, we had a valve radio, and slowly then we had a landline telephone. After that, we had a black and white TV. Then we had a color TV. So every 5 years, there was an upgradation of technology, and then I was watching, and then I was trying to cope up with what technology had to offer to me and chase technology, and then sometimes be ahead of technology to provide something as consultancy back to technology. So that has been my role. Now, the coming to the mental well-being point. Coming to the mental well-being point, I do agree that the present Gen Z, which is already born with a silver spoon, they have almost everything when they are born, and then they spend more time on themselves rather than socializing, mixing, and then trying to adjust to the societal needs. or trying to adjust to the vagaries of others and then so on. I do agree with you that there are problems because of severe rummy or Facebook or WhatsApp or other kinds of addictions. So these addictions are not good. And then my advice to the youngsters is that spend lesser time on such lonely activities and then try to kind of socialize, get to know people. Because what you have to do is ultimately you have to learn to work with a lot of people. You have to work with a lot of people. So as you have to work with a lot of people, as you have to work with a lot of people in the companies and then or in the institutions and so on, adjustability becomes a very big plus point. Adjustability becomes a very important point. So that's a very important point. And as the generations went ahead, like finally, for the Gen Z that was born after 1990 or 95 in a liberalized manner, their tolerance and adjustability is not that good. I mean, they have everything at the fingertips, and if they don't get it, they are upset. And quite a few of them are not, having enough siblings, meaning brothers and sisters. So quite a few of them are single children, or they are single children, or say just have one sibling and so on. But at the same time, India cannot afford the same culture that we had during the baby boom. That's another thing. So I would say that a lot of group activities and then healthy social activities are the only answer. They are the only answer. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. And we too have face a lot of counseling difficulties. And then I am one of the proctors at VIT, and where I work. We have a strong proctor system thanks to the vision of our Chancellor, Dr. Viswanathan. And I admire him a lot. So what happens is that we have a very good proctor system. And every teacher has to look after 20, 25 boys and girls as to these are their wards. And we have their parents' records and then their records, contact details, and so on. They have any problem, we address them, and they can even call us late in the night, and so on. I think that every institution must follow a strong proctor system,
Yes,
like
yes.
VAT, where you educate them about the ills of drugs, educate them about the ills of other things, and so on.
Yes, sir.
So
So we are yes, yes. We are running short in time. So I think I
yeah.
had a fabulous interactive session with Professor. So I think it was quite enjoyable also because your way of interpreting the questions and your vision and approach towards the question is quite fascinating and quite interesting. And finally, thank you for spending your valuable time for on this forum. And it will be creating some ideas among the students, parents, and faculty for watching it. And the main objective of such discussion is to share the experience and the vision so that we will be like as you have mentioned, then only the learning process will be continuing. So thank you, sir, for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. My advice to the youngsters is that have more tolerance, at the same time have more purpose. Purpose is what they say is what you have when nobody else is looking at you. Deep within you have something that is purpose. Develop purpose, develop progression, develop positivity, develop vision, and be rugged. Be rugged in the sense, be emotionally stable. And that's my advice. And then I thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful interview and the
Thank
wonderful
you.
evening. Thank you so much. Namaskaram.
Namaskar. Thank you. Thank you.